So here I am at the Blagoevgrad bus station. Now, I actually live in this town. There's the American University in Bulgaria is just over that way, kind of like facing the bus station, or the bus station is facing the university. And the bus system is really interesting here. It's like halfway between Asia and the West. You know, like in Asia, if there's an extra person that shows up, they'll pile you in there. It doesn't matter if everybody on the bus is uncomfortable. It's more money for the bus company, so that's just kind of the way things are. On the other hand, it's a little more organized here in that they will not necessarily make everybody cramped. They'll sell the number of seats they have. However, they will leave when the bus is full, or when they kind of feel like the bus is full, even if they have an extra seat. Meaning, if two people show up and they have one seat or something like that, they'll be like, "Yeah, we're probably not going to get another couple of people, so we're just, or another single person, so we'll just go," which is what happened to us this morning. So my producer and I are going to wait for the next bus. That one happened to have filled as soon as we got here. In any case, another really cool thing about the Eastern European nations, and Bulgaria is absolutely no exception to that, is the communist era remnants, like all over the place. Right behind me, right next to the bus station, is this totally abandoned factory, and I think that they probably made like something having to do with like the war or with communist rule or something. I mean, that's just kind of this the sentiment that you have. Everything around you is just like the minute you get out of the city where the construction has not been replaced with new stuff, you'll see these old factories that are just sort of ominous and looming. In any case, what we're going to be doing today is driving down to the southwestern region of Bulgaria, which is kind of the Blagoevgrad province and the Sandanski province. The first town we're going to end up in is Sandanski, but we're just going to use that as a jumping point to Rozhen and Melnik. Rozhen is mostly just a tiny little village. That's going to be a neat little photo walk. I'm going to have it's supposed to be like an old world village style, so I'll have hopefully some pretty decent photography in the later afternoon. Historically, Melnik is known as a place for rest and wellness. It has like hot spas and things like this. But the coolest thing about it is that it's also kind of famous for its underground winemaking. I mean, I think it has a year-round population of about 200-300. So anyway, that'll be all today. And then tomorrow we're going to go back and see Sandanski, which is just 20 kilometers from the Greek border. Very cool little town. It sits at the foot of the Pyrenean Mountains along the banks of the Sandanski Bystrica River. And it was named after a famous revolutionary named Sandanski. So that'll be cool to check that out. It'll be a nice weekend of filming throughout southwestern Bulgaria. All right, so here I am on the way to the Rozhen Monastery, and the Rozhen Monastery is one of the older, it's a medieval Orthodox monastery. It's actually the biggest in the Pyrenean Mountain area, and the region that we're at right now. You can actually get there by car, which my gracious hosts are helping me out with right now. Or you can get there by footpath, which is through the pyramids, which are just behind me here. We'll kind of drive up through the pyramids and everything, and you can actually, it's something of kind of like a rite of passage or a walk through the same area that was originally made and used from the Sandanski area when it was originally constructed in the 12th and 13th centuries. So here I am at the Sandanski mausoleum. It's not necessarily a mausoleum per se. It's kind of like a church he's buried in. It's a tomb of sorts, or a grave. But in any case, this is actually dedicated to the revolutionary leader Sandanski, the name after which the entire town has been designated. All around us are these huge, like sheer sandstone-faced cliffs that have, over time, just sort of fallen to the grips of gravity as they've been taken apart. And it's, I think, probably a coincidence that there's a lot of sandstone here, and the name of the area is Sandanski. And in fact, it's reflected all over the roads as well as you drive up this really windy mountain pass up to get here, which is beautiful and really epic along the way. You see that sand has blown all into the roadway and everything like that. I don't know, perhaps that's just a coincidence that I noticed, but really, really neat architecture. To know that there's so much history and culture here in this kind of tight little packed area is amazing. But what's even more amazing is that during the Ottoman Empire, the Turks, in order to convert the Orthodoxy by any means necessary, would do things like take the strongest male children in the household and put them to work as soldiers in the Ottoman Empire army, the imperial army. So in any case, one of the reasons that the Orthodoxy is so strong here is because they acted as something of a unifier of the people, sort of unifying and maintaining unity among the Bulgarians, who were basically under onslaught by the Turkish Empire throughout the years. And for that and probably a couple of other reasons, the Orthodox Church actually is one of the largest real estate companies in the country. They own more land than any one single entity. Perhaps that's a coincidence, I'm not sure. So here I am at the actual grave of Yanni Sandanski, and by the time he died, he had certainly won favor with the people for kind of fighting against the Turks and ensuring the Bulgarian and Macedonian unity. And on his grave is inscripted in Bulgarian text a notation which states, "To live means to fight, a slave for freedom, a free man for perfection." And on his mural to the right of the tomb site itself, it basically states that no matter what the cost, no matter what the terrorist action wrought of the Ottoman Empire, he won't stop until there's a unified and safe and secure and free Bulgaria and Macedonia. So as I was walking up to go and check out the monastery up here, which is what we'll do in a second, I noticed that there are these red and white ribbons that are hanging on the trees. Now, this is something that I heard about before. This actually stems from something that's a Bulgarian tradition called Martinitsa. And Mart is the word for March, which is when you start wearing these things. They're basically a celebration of health and wellness. And when 1 month goes by, it's basically kind of like Health Awareness Month or whatever in the old Bulgarian style. And so after that month is finished, you give it away or you do something kind of ceremonial like this, and they've placed theirs on the tree. So when this thing's probably big and strong, it will envelop them, or maybe they won't even be there by that time, I don't know. It's a neat little traditional thing though. You can see them all the way throughout the tree here. They're here, way up in here. Obviously they've been putting them here since the tree was thinner and younger. So when you first walk through, it's really neat. You can tell that this place is just full of age. There's no Disneyland makeup here. All of the pilings, all of the buttresses, everything that you see around has clearly been carved and nailed together with these old iron gigantic nails. The somewhat stuccoed walls have rocks recessed within them. I mean, it's truly amazing. As you walk through the corridor, just puts you back in time to kind of think about, it gives you this mental imagery of like what processions must have been like, the monks walking through, and the ceremonies that took place here. It's really cool. Even the doors, the entryway doors, are these kind of tiered wrought iron plates that have been banged around and nailed in place to these big, heavy wooden, backing. It's pretty crazy. These the lantern that's here too. It looks original. I don't know that the glass is original. I don't know how much of it has been replaced or maintained or whatever, but clearly there's electricity in it now, where once it held a candle or something like that. It's pretty cool.
The largest monastery in the Pirin Mountains, the Rozhen Monastery, is set amid an interesting collection of what are called sand pyramids. There's also a nearby canyon where they're still finding Byzantine-era artifacts of major historical significance. There's also a 3-story feudal castle, and of course the medieval church where Sandanski is buried. All told, the construction for these erections spanned from the 13th to the 19th centuries. The earliest reference to this monastery dates from a hymn recorded in 1551 in a text which is located in the Great Lavra Library in Mount Athos. Most of the church's original paintings, which were completed in 1597, were destroyed by a fire in 1674, which also razed the library and several other buildings. Several wealthy benefactors assisted in the restoration of the complex over the next century. Recently uncovered was a nearby gravesite containing decorative remnants and coins dating from the rule of Byzantine Emperor Michael VIII, otherwise known as Paleologos, who ruled as early as 1259, and during his rule he recovered Constantinople from the Latin Empire. This, of course, explains much of the amazing history of amalgamating histories from the Roman, Byzantine, Latin, Greek, and Ottoman influence in the region.
This place is really, really incredible. The thing that's the most incredible about it, it's totally authentic, and there's nothing polished or fake about it. Even you can tell that they've refurbished a lot of it, but even in the refurbishment, they've kept to the old style. It's like they haven't hired any outside work. It's all been monks working on it. In fact, the monk that I talked to inside the monastery gave me lots of really great information about the area and the monastery itself, and even some of the rooms here. Now, I originally thought this was the royal shuffleboard, but no, this is the actual dining quarters for the dignitaries, and I find it very interesting that people actually sat here and kind of discussed the agenda of the times, from the Byzantine, the Roman, the Ottoman empires. This thing has stood here and fed many people. In fact, the painting on the inside of the monastery, which was done in 1732, is all original. Everything on the inside and the outside is all original. It's not been touched up. It's pretty fantastic, which probably is about the same date as some of the painting on the mural behind me. And you can tell that there was a lot of contemplation and contemplative energy having taken place in this rustic location.